Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. Let me give you a quick overview of the software. On the left here you have a drawer that you can pop out or consolidate like so. You have these various dashboard views here. The most basic one will be status. This will show all of the projects with regard to their status. So new will represent various things coming in from your website or through your coworkers, etc. These are projects that either you and your team have made and are working on, or these are submissions from your website, like your coworkers and things like that. Quoted, if you're selling parts, will be the next column here. If you're not actually selling parts, this might say something like in preparation. But basically, this is where the projects wait for a formal approval. Once that happens, everything gets moved into production and then eventually into completed. Now, when you're in the status view, you can just grab these and move them from place to place. Otherwise, optionally within each project, and I'm going to teach you guys the hotkey that I like the most, the spacebar trick, you can just move them along like so. So we'll move that back over to new and click out, or space key out. Great. Now all of these other views up here will only represent the projects that are in production. So rather than having to scroll through this one long column, you might be thinking, okay, well, how can I sort all of my projects that are in production by the various materials that are needed? There you go. So any project that has a PETG part in it will be here. Any project that has a PLA part in it will be here. Now, because you have various materials, some projects might show up twice. They might show up in the PETG or the nylon 12 columns if there are the appropriate parts within each. Calendar will sort by your due date. Pretty straightforward there. Production is just going to show them in the order that they went into production, with the oldest one being at the very bottom and the newest one at the top. Machines will sort by the various machines that are needed. So if when you upload, well, I'll get into this later, but when you upload a job or a build file, then that's when it'll be able to sort by these. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But if you haven't yet, then it'll show up over here in unknown. Assigned, let's see here. So these are the various things that I've been assigned to. So within each project, you've got these various things like sales, production, customer service, and I've been assigned right here to customer service for this. You can get more in depth here. You can look at things like, let's say, slicing. So action needed slicing. This will now show all the projects that have parts that do not yet have a slice or a build file associated with them. That could be a G-code, it could be a 3MF, it could be a .form file if you use Formlabs machines, etc. So yeah, in that regard, let's now go to SLA. Okay, cool. These are the jobs that have SLA parts in them. Keep in mind we're still sorting by materials, so this is a job that has ASA parts in it, but when we open it up, it also has SLA parts in it right here that have no corresponding job file. So if your job is to slice for the SLA machines, you might go, you might just be up here in production instead of materials, and you might say action needed slicing, and then only show me jobs for SLA, and great. Here are the 3 projects that have SLA models in them that still need to be sliced. These are the same 3 that were in the other view, but again, if you're in the materials view and you go to, whoops, and you go to this, some of them will show up twice, like spectrosphere. Spectrosphere has PETG parts in it and TUF 2000 parts in it. Yep, and sure enough, Prism Pulse is the other one that has 2 different. So there's actually only 3 projects that we're looking at here: Chroma Code, Spectrosphere, and Prism Pulse. Or more appropriately, I should be giving you the project numbers, which are on the left there. So yeah, let's talk about that next. Here at the top, you'll see the customer name. Sometimes you'll see some paperwork and so forth associated with that, depending on how you're set up. You'll see how many different models are in there, and then how many individual pieces need to be printed. So we'll open that up to kind of show you what we mean. So there's 3 different models. There's that one, and that one. This one has 8, that one 20, that one 10. Great. So what else, what else, what else? We won't go into too much depth with all of this in this video. Oops, didn't mean to click that. But yeah, so kind of back to the beginning here. One thing that I do want to note is that so far we've been looking at the projects as a whole, right? So this is just a job for each one of these various customers, or however you're organized. You can also sort by models. So this is now every single individual model within every single project. So here's everything you're doing in PETG. Here's everything you're doing in Nylon 12. PA12's over here. That's the same thing as Nylon 12. I think I differentiated that when I was setting up this demo account a long time ago. Right, yeah, Nylon 12 is what I was calling SLS. PA12 is what I was calling MJF. Everything that you see here, by the way, is fake. This is just our demo account. Today I would probably set that up differently, but maybe I'd call this SLS Nylon 12, and maybe I'd call that MJF Nylon 12. But anyway, so yeah, so that's just a general overview of the dashboards, but let's now open up an individual project. Let's go with this one. By the way, so again, if you hit spacebar, that'll open it up like so, and then you can hit spacebar again and get back at it. If you click it, that'll actually navigate you to the various page. Same thing, maybe you'll want to go here if you want to just kind of free up the screen and focus on this one project. So at the top, you'll see the various things like who's this for, when's it due, have they paid or not. We kind of went into this earlier, the various people on your team that you want to assign to various roles. Here's their name and contact info, shipping information, stuff like that. Random notes can go here. What else? You can email the customer. You can create your own templates. So, for example, this one says, "Hello, Emily Parker. I have attached your quote. In summary, we have 3 models, 20 units, black PLA, blah." Anyway, that's where you can email people. Very nice. Adjust the due dates, lead time, whatever you want. All that at the top. Then, going down, this is where all the actual jobs are. So you can see these are 3MFs that are attached here. And then the jobs are, of course, like G-codes. So this is what you would potentially send the machine. Or these days with the Bamboo and so forth, you might actually send 3MFs straight to the machines. Just sort of depends how your machines work. And you can customize this to show up as either an attachment or a job. Typically, attachments are kind of anything. It could be a PDF. It could be a video. It could be anything. And then jobs are the extensions that you actually associate with the files that get sent to printers. So when I set this up, G-codes were the main sort of thing that you would send to an FDM machine. Here they are. So if you were to drop a G-code into this project, which I'm just going to go ahead and do, I'm going to re-drop this one in. Okay, great. So this will say piston G-code. It'll have a little 1 in parentheses. There it is. Okay, so when I drop this in, now I tell the software what is in there. So none of this is true, but that's in there, 2 of those are in there, and 1 of those are in there. Great, cool. We'll go ahead and delete this here in a moment, but yeah, so it'll actually preview the G-code, which sort of proves that what I told it was in there is incorrect, but according to what I just told the software, if you were to print this, 1 of those would print, 3 of those would print, 2 of those would print. You can then upload it directly to a machine if it's an open source FDM machine or something like that. If it's a closed source machine, you cannot. That's just not possible. But with a lot of machines like the Bamboos and the Prusas and so forth, you can. Otherwise, you could just download it, send it to the machine the way you would normally do it. And then after that, you could say mark as printing, And when I do that, you'll see all the numbers in these various projects went up by the corresponding amount. Let me go ahead and undo that and say record failure. Great, so now everything went down. It asks if you'd like to record details about the failure. In that case, I do not want to do that, so let's get out of there. Great, and let's go ahead and delete this little guy so that this little fake account here doesn't get too cluttered with inaccurate stuff. Great, so down here, options, this is what the customer originally saw, or this is what you were using when you were setting up this specific project. So in this case, you can choose all your various materials, and then after that you can choose what we call parameters. These are things like, these are anything except for the material. So it could be infill, layer height, any custom parameter that you want, you can set up. Maybe you want to show walls, maybe you want to show the nozzle size, maybe you want to show something specific to your industry or to your specific company. You can create whatever parameters you'd like. Those show up over here. If you ever want to just sort of hide or show any, you can do that right there. The software is made to be very friendly for teamwork and also customer service. So within every single part, every single model, you've got this chat room. Everything is timestamped, so you know exactly who did what and when. That's great for preventing mistakes and so forth. You can also talk to your team members. So I'm always talking to Ava Jenkins. Let's see. Hello again. Okay, so over on Ava's side, she'd get a notification and it would say hello again. She'd click it and it would take her straight to this part. Obviously, you don't always want to say hello again. You would say something like, hey, this model's giving me issues, or where are we at with this, or whatever you want. In case you're ever wondering why things are spinning or not spinning, if they're larger models, we don't want to slow down the software, so you actually have to click it to load it and have it start spinning. The smaller models will just spin on their own, something you can turn off or turn on later. Great. So down here on the right, you've got the staff project chat. This is where you can see everything again that happened. So earlier today, in fact just a few moments ago, Michael uploaded that job. Oh, and then shortly after that he deleted it. Cool. You can always talk to Ava. Whatever you'd like to do, this is where your team stays up to speed on the project as a whole. This is where they stay up to speed on the specific parts. By the way, in each of these you can add attachments, any kind of attachment that you'd like. And moving on now, we have the customer chat here, and anything that you say here will get sent to Emily Parker. So if Emily Parker is logged in as a customer, the customer interface, of course, looks much different than this. She'd get a notification, and she'd read what you're saying, and she could talk right back to you. Otherwise, if she's not logged in, she'll get an email, and that'll have the contents of the message. She can simply reply to the email versus logging in, and that will work. And you can basically have a conversation with Emily down here without her having to log in or anything. This is, of course, invaluable when you're trying to keep your entire team on the same page. Oh my goodness, before I had this software, I would email Emily. She's a fake person, but I'd email fake Emily. Fake Emily would reply to me. I would know what fake Emily wants, but I would then have to forward that email to everyone else, and we'd have all these emails all over. Nope, not anymore. Now the whole team can just see what the customer is saying right there. Cool. So we are just getting started here. There is so much more that I can't wait to show you guys, but this is, in a nutshell, sort of the basic overview of how to get around. We're going to go into a lot more in future videos. Hang tight. We'll see you there.